Health and peace and happiness for everyone. Ashreinu, how good and beautiful is our heritage. Pesach, Tafshin Pei Bet. The Mishnah in Masechet Pesachim says that the order of the Haggadah is Matchil Bignut Umesayem Beshevach. We begin with something which is shameful, and we conclude with something which is full of praise. In the Gemara, we have two opinions. What is the Matchil Bignut Umesayem Beshevach? Is it that we start with the fact that we were slaves and then we praise Hashem for freeing us from slavery? Or is it that we are ashamed of the fact that we were so far from Hashem and we worshipped idols and then Hashem brought us closer to Avodat Hashem? But in any case, we start with something negative and we move on to something positive and we praise Hashem for this change. And this is clear because if we want to have the feeling of Chayav Adam Lirot et Atzmo Keilu Hu Yatza Mitzrayim, to experience Yetziat Mitzrayim, to appreciate the Yetziat Mitzrayim, we have to feel what was missing and then move on from the negative to the positive. So we always remind ourselves, even when everything is good around us, of where we came from. But you see in Sefer Dvarim that already Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid that this wouldn't last for a long time. Moshe says in Sefer Dvarim, Ki tolid banim uvnei banim, when you will be in Eretz Yisrael and you will have children and grandchildren, they will move away from the derech of Avodat Hashem. There's always the fear that within 2 or 3 generations, they won't remember where we came from, and this isn't going to work, and they're going to move astray, they're going to move away. So we see this fear through all the generations, and part of the reason for this, and this is why the Torah commands us of the mitzvah of Leil HaSeder, v'yigadeta levincha. You have to make an effort. You have to be proactive, to make an effort to pass on the story to your children so they won't take the positive reality for granted. And that's why we tell the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And that's why in one main part of the Haggadah is the halacha in Parashat Ki Tavo, later on in Sefer Dvarim, where a person brings the first fruit to Beit HaMikdash, the Bikurim, and he says the psukim that tell the whole story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, which is a main part of the Haggadah, because it doesn't matter how many generations you've been living in Eretz Yisrael, you always have to remember that it's a gift and it should not be taken for granted. But there is this tension. There always is this tension that maybe we will get used to it, maybe we will become spoiled. Maybe we will become lazy because we're so used to having the blessings that Hashem gives us. So are we always going to need a new stage of negative, of gnut, of something bad that will happen, and then Hashem will redeem us? Isn't it true that today we appreciate Eretz Yisrael more because of so many generations of galut? But what's going to happen in the next generation and after that and a few generations forward? Are we always going to need something negative to go back to repeat this cycle of negative and then positive, to appreciate the blessings that Hashem gives us? I think the answer to this question is that it's up to us. When we will be able to take the blessings that Hashem gives us and not become spoiled and not become lazy, but use them in a positive way, appreciate them and use them, use the physical blessings as a way to strengthen Avodat Hashem, as a way to bring blessings to the world, to bring good to the world, to praise Hashem, to do Kiddush Hashem, and bring Tikkun Olam, then we will be ready to accept the physical and spiritual blessings of Hashem without having to repeat again and again the cycle of negative and then positive. The Rambam asks, what is it that we say, V'hayayim Shemo, if we keep all the mitzvot of the Torah, what will our blessings be? There will be rain, and we will have crops, and everything will be good. Asks the Rambam, this is the blessing, this is the promise of the Torah. If you keep the mitzvot, you'll have physical blessings. Says the Rambam, no. If you keep all the mitzvot of the Torah, and you know to appreciate the blessings Hashem gives you, you will use the physical blessings for spiritual purposes, for Kiddush Hashem and Tikkun Olam. And that is the greatest blessing of the Torah. And the Rav Kook says the fact that the Torah says that the greatest blessing at the end will be in Eretz Yisrael, that it will be Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash, a land of plenty of milk and honey. That means that in the time of the Geulah, Am Yisrael will be able to accept the physical blessings and use them for good and not allow them to make us lose our focus. And so the answer to the question is, when will that happen? I believe the answer is when we will be ready. When we will prove ourselves ready to be able to get physical and spiritual blessings from Hashem and use them for tikkun olam and use them for kiddush Hashem and make man and the world what it's supposed to be, such greatness, such tremendous power, such tremendous potential that we have in the world. When we will realize that will be the time that we will no longer need a new gnut to bring a new shevach. We will always be able to look back at things that happened in the past in a situation that is positive, and always remember not to take that situation for granted and use our blessings for Kiddush Hashem and Tikkun Olam. Chag Sameach.